Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, dozens of families are still stranded at the Manila North Harbor due to the no vaccination, no ride policy. More local officials are opposing the policy, saying it is anti-poor and discriminates against the unvaccinated. Philippine Ports Authority General Manager Santiago joins us live. And later, Metro Manila is seeing a decrease in COVID cases, but the region remains at critical risk. OCTA Research Fellow Professor Guido David will also join us later in the program. Nearly 60 families remain stranded at the Manila North Harbor after the government implemented the no vaccination, no ride policy. Port authorities say the families, most of them Bajaus, are now inside the compound and are staying in a covered area. Transportation Secretary Art Tugade earlier ordered port authorities to let the passengers leave because he said returning home is a form of essential travel. Let's go straight to the source of the story. First off, we have Philippine Ports Authority General Manager Santiago. Attorney Santiago, welcome to the source. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Good morning, Pinky, and good morning to your viewers as well. Thanks for having me.
Let's find out first right now, at this moment, the situation at Manila North Harbor. I know that Secretary Tugade earlier said that he was mad. He was fuming when he found out that passengers were stranded over there because of two things: lack of documentation and that they were not vaccinated.
That's correct, Pinky. This happened sometime this Monday when during the first day of the implementation of the no vaccination card, no boarding, no entry policy being implemented by the Philippine Ports Authority. And then what happened there was that we have about 59 Bajau families who were supposed to be headed towards Zamboanga City. So when they were requested to present their vaccination cards and their proof of travel documentation, they were not able to present the documents requested. And in fact, even with the vaccination card, insofar as Zamboanga City is concerned, the local government unit of Zamboanga City requires the presentation of a negative RT-PCR result before they allow entry of any traveler. So because of that, this group composed of about 59 families or 90 individuals were not allowed entry because they did not comply with the Department of Transportation Department order as well as the PPA Memorandum Circular. However, when news got to Secretary Tugade, I think by way of exception, he instructed us to facilitate the passage of these families, of these individuals, so that they may be able to continue on with their travel back to their residences in Mindanao. And I guess out of compassion, the President and Secretary Tugade, made that decision for us to help these families. So now, as of yesterday, yes, I'm sorry.
Sir, let me just interrupt you. It's a little confusing, though, when you have Secretary Tugade saying that going home is actually an essential travel, yet there is this perception that if you're not vaccinated, you cannot leave. And number two, that you were saying that the local government of Zamboanga had required, if unvaccinated, a negative RT-PCR test. So what really is the policy now?
Actually, Pinky, the local government unit of Zamboanga, even with the vaccination card, requires the presentation of a negative RT-PCR result, whether or not you're vaccinated. So that is part of the LGU requirement. Now, insofar as what the statement or the instruction of Secretary Tugade, what Secretary Tugade said, this is consistent with the IATF guidelines that going back to the residences for any individual, it should be considered as essential travel. This has been in practice and this has been followed from the time the IATF had restricted non-essential movement all over the Philippines.
So it's still a little confusing for me. I hope you don't mind, sir. So which is going to be allowed? The fact that going home is an essential travel, or the fact that the local government of Zamboanga, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, is still requiring or was requiring an RT-PCR test? Ano hong masusunod?
Well, we have two sets of guidelines, Pinky. Insofar as the Department of Transportation and PPA is concerned, we will comply with IATF guidelines, which considers going back to residences as a form of essential travel. Now, whatever the local government unit of Zamboanga is requiring insofar as entry to their city is concerned, that is within their discretion. And as far as PPA is concerned, we will respect that. But insofar as PPA is concerned, we will allow them to travel. We will just have to contend with whatever requirements the city government of Zamboanga will require upon their arrival in Zamboanga City.
So paaalisin po sila even if they don't have a negative RT-PCR test?
Yes, we will let them proceed with their travel, but I have also instructed our port management office in Zamboanga to make representations to the city government of Zamboanga to allow them to proceed by way of exception out of humanitarian considerations and out of compassion, as instructed also by the President and Secretary Togade. So we will try to sort it out. Yes.
Opo, this is going to be an exception. This is what it is.
Yes, because if you will be strict with the guidelines, they should really not be allowed to travel, primarily because they do not have the required documentation under the guidelines. But again, as I said, the guidelines are not absolute. We try to implement as much as we can, but we are also flexible and tolerant, especially if we see small children with them, and we don't want to expose the children to any other health risks. So that we will do whatever we can to make sure that they comply substantially with all of the requirements. In fact, even the vaccination, we facilitated the vaccination of unvaccinated individuals yesterday, and about 54 individuals were inoculated yesterday, only for purposes so that they would be with the city government
of the Manila local government.
Correct, yes.
Opo. So there are 59 families still at the Manila North Harbor currently, and when are they expected to be able to leave?
The next scheduled voyage of the vessel going to Zamboanga will be on Monday, and we will ensure that they will be able to board that vessel on Monday so that they will be in Zamboanga by late Monday or Tuesday.
And we're talking about all 59 will be able to board? Yes,
all 59. We've coordinated with the shipping lines. If there are any apprehensions, we've coordinated with the shipping line operating that area just to allow them, but make sure that if there's any health consideration, that they will be isolated from the other passengers on board the vessel who have complied and who have been properly inoculated with the full dosage of their vaccines.
And what was the response of the shipping line regarding this?
Of course, they're going to cooperate. They recognize also the importance of helping these individuals, and so as that to lessen the burden on them also, so that we will allow them to proceed and make the necessary health precautions to make sure that no untoward health risks occurs during the voyage.
And what kind of measures are you planning to put in place together with the shipping line? Because if we're talking about 59 families, I think you said a while ago, this consists of about 90 individuals, if I'm not mistaken, attorney.
Yes, correct. In fact, if you will note, we are still on a 70% passenger capacity now for our maritime vessels. So we will be able to place these affected families in certain locations inside the vessel without them unduly, interfacing with the other passengers who have already been fully vaccinated.
Ibig sabihin, sir, medyo hiwalay po sila doon sa ibang mga pasahero pagsakay po ng barko. Tama po ba?
Tama po yun, ma'am. Ihihiwalay po sila.
And prior to them leaving on Monday, are there going to be any tests that will be conducted, any antigen test for that matter?
Not anymore. We will, because there will be, presumably when they get to Zamboanga City, if they don't present the RT-PCR test, we've instructed our port management office there to coordinate with the city government to make sure that before they come in, they will undergo through RT-PCR testing there when they arrive.
Pagdating po sa Zamboanga. But what is the mandate now? Is it more important, sir, that the individuals undergo an RT-PCR, considering, sir, it is a Friday today, and if all works out well, pwede po silang magkaroon ng resulta ng kanilang RT-PCR maybe by Sunday? Is that something that the Philippine Ports Authority is planning to do?
Well, we will coordinate. As you know, Pinky, we do not have the capability, and it is not within our mandate to do that. But of course, as instructed by Secretary Togadi, we will exert whatever means to coordinate with other agencies. So we will try to coordinate probably with the Metro Manila Development Authority or the City Government of Manila or the Red Cross to be able to do that.
Yeah, pero wala pa po ngayon. There's no assurance yet that that will happen.
Yes, as of today. But as you know, it is not part of the travel requirements. The negative RT-PCR is no longer part of the travel requirements. It is merely the vaccination card. So I think this is a very unique and peculiar situation with respect to Zamboanga City. And we will just try to sort it out with the LGU of Zamboanga so that we will be able to facilitate their travel expeditiously.
Okay, but before we go on a break, are you seeing a problem with the LGU of Zamboanga regarding yung pag-uwi po ng 59 families or 90 individuals? Are they going to accept them? Meron na po bang usapan or agreement that they will be accepted whether they undergo an RT-PCR test and they are unvaccinated?
Pinky, we know Mayor Beng Climaco personally, and we've cooperated in so many efforts in the past. And Mayor Beng is very compassionate, and she's very reasonable. And I think she will be able to understand the situation and will also help to make sure that these people are properly taken care of and are properly processed when they reach Zamboanga City.
Properly taken care of and processed when they reach Zamboanga City. We'll find out the situation, how they are, and I do know that the DSWD visited the families over there at Manila North Harbor and gave them some sort of assistance. We'll talk about that after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, Philippine Ports Authority General Manager J. Santiago. So, attorney, how are they right now? The DSWD visited them yesterday and gave them some sort of assistance, I think monetary, and also distributed some hot food?
Yes. Yesterday, based on the instructions of the President, the DSWD went to North Harbor and provided financial assistance to each of the families. I think they were given about 5,000 pesos per family. And then some private institutions also donated food. The PPA also provided them hot meals and drinks. And then we also gave them sleeping kits and toiletry kits and other toiletry requirements or amenities. They're housed in one of our facilities there at the terminal, and they will be there until their scheduled voyage on Monday.
But they will still be there for Friday night, Saturday, 3 more nights, no?
Yes, correct, yes.
And they will be taken care of for the next few days as well prior to leaving the port.
Yes. In fact, Pinky, if I may mention, this situation is already seasonal for the PPA. Almost every January of the year, we encounter the same group of individuals or same family, same group. And then we're used to this. Of course, the only challenge at this particular time is that we're under a pandemic and we're very strict on our health protocols. But we will still do whatever we can to make sure that they're comfortable and they're taken care of until their scheduled voyage.
And would you say right now, komportable naman po sila habang naghihintay ng kanilang sakay pa uwi, sir?
Well, of course, depends on the on the degree or your how comfortable you're used to. Everyone. I guess maybe even you at certain times you've been bumped off either the airport or at certain terminals, and it's really uncomfortable unless you're at your own residence. But we will try to do the best that we can to provide them at the very least hot meals. And then they're covered from the elements, and then they have toilet amenities.
Opo. So far, wala naman po nagkakasakit sa kanila o wala pong may sakit sa kanila?
Well, we've, I don't know, yung our clinical staff have visited them. In fact, I think today is Friday. Wednesday, they did an inventory of all of these individuals and sort of interviewed them to make sure that they're okay. And so far, there's really no, reported an individual who has any severe symptom. A few of them may have slight colds or slight cough, but then I think generally speaking, they're in good condition.
Right, because I bring that up, sir, because if I'm not mistaken, they were stranded there since January 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So it's been 5 days.
Yes, I mean, they've been there since January 17, but I think we've already moved them in as early as the 18th. So we apologize to them that they had to suffer that for at least a day or so, but we were able to rectify the situation, and then we moved them all into a more comfortable and a safer environment starting on the 18th, I believe.
Just to be clear on the policy of government that going home is an essential travel, we understand, of course, sir, that even if going home is an essential travel, it's also known that it will be up to the LGUs likewise to have certain requirements for those going home. Ano po? So do you see a problem in the future with this kind of policy wherein the national government says going home is essential, ibig sabihin kailangan makauwi sila vaccinated man o hindi? And yet you have the local government units or officials also issuing their own separate directives on the returning kababayans. Paano ho yun? How do you actually reconcile that? Especially, for example, at the Manila North Harbor. Would that cause some sort of confusion and possibly in the future, passengers can get stranded again?
You're correct there, Pinky. No? In fact, in this particular instance, the vessel that they're going to be boarding has multiple stops. It will stop in Dumaguete and it will stop in Zamboanga. All of the passengers in Dumaguete were able to board. They were able to disembark with no hitch whatsoever. Primarily because the city government of Dumaguete does not require any other travel documentation other than the vaccination card. They do not require any negative RT-PCR result or negative antigen result. I think the challenge there really is that all the LGUs, a lot of the LGUs have they have different requirements. It's not uniform, and that's why we've always been reminding our passengers to make sure first before they travel, to make sure what the requirements are so that they will not be stranded or they will not encounter problems when they get to their destinations.
Opo. Understand what you're saying, and that needs to be reconciled. While I do agree with you that passengers are always asked, check nyo kung ano yung requirement doon sa pupuntahan nyo o uuwian ninyo. Naiipit ho kasi yung people are being caught in the middle. Ano po? Even, for example, even officials at the Manila North Harbor, surely at some point, whether they knew that going home was essential and yet the LGU had certain requirements, paano ho titimbangin kung sino ang susundin?
Tama yun, Ma'am Pinky, no? And in fact, medyo kami sa PPA, we're in a very parang a tenuous situation kasi we really don't know how to handle it. And our request always has been for the LGUs through the DILG to make sure that the requirements are uniform. I think the problem there also lies with the fact that there are certain destinations which have different alert levels, and having different alert levels changes the situation, changes the requirements, and changes the environment insofar as arrivals or traveling is concerned. So I mean, if we can harmonize, if we can make sure that the requirements are uniform, I think it will be easier for everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying there, attorney. So in the future, sabihin po natin, at public service na rin po, no, sa mga uuwi, alamin na rin nila kung ano yung requirements, definitely doon sa pupuntahan nila. But let's also admit that sometimes that's not very easy for some of us to do. Ano po? That's a challenge to find out, or sometimes the requirements actually change. So how do you, I guess as the last question, resolve any possible conflict dyan po, for example, sa Manila North Harbor, para po makauwi yung mga taong gustong umuwi dahil nga sinabi ng gobyerno, going home is an essential travel. How do you reconcile or how do you solve a possible problem in the future?
You know, Pinky, you can go back to all the coverage for the past years, and the Manila North Harbor has in fact at certain times of the year has turned into some sort of parang refugee facility, no? If I may say that. Oo. So wala. I mean, as far as PPA and Northport is concerned, we just have to accept that the situation is like that now. We will take care of all the travelers under whatever situation to make sure that they're comfortable. But of course, without telling our travelers also na wag naman nating abusuhin yung sitwasyon na kasi because in the past we've experienced it that there were posts in social media inviting more people to come in because there's free food, they give financial assistance, etc. Sana naman wag nilang gawin ganon. But on our part, whoever is there legitimately that who will travel, we will take care of them. We will make sure that their travel experience is at the very least comfortable and convenient. The cooperation that we ask from other individuals naman is not to further aggravate the situation. Don't put themselves in that situation that they will be themselves uncomfortable and they will, increase the burden of the terminal. Kasi we don't want that.
Philippine Ports Authority General Manager J. Santiago, attorney, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Pinky.
And coming up is Metro Manila nearing the end of the COVID-19 surge. OCTA Research Fellow Professor Guido David joins us after the break. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, OCTA Research Fellow Professor Guido David. Professor, good to have you again. Let me already start. Were you surprised that Thursday's numbers again reached the 30,000 mark? Ano nangyari? What happened?
Actually, it was not surprising, Pinky. In fact, it was exactly on mark. I mean, within our projections, I projected 31,000 cases on Thursday. And I'm projecting about the same number today and tomorrow, around 31, 32,000 within the next few days. And the reason is, although the cases are starting to decrease in NCR, and in parts of Calabarzon, cases are now increasing rapidly in many other parts of the country, and that is offsetting the numbers. So as the numbers are going down in NCR, numbers are increasing outside NCR plus.
So sa madaling salita, kumukonti o bumababa yung numero sa NCR pero tumataas naman po sa ilang mga lugar. But your projection for NCR, I saw your tweet, you were pretty much on point. Out of the 30,000 infections yesterday, 9,455 were in NCR. So that's about a third, no? 33% of the 30,000 mark. So are we seeing a downward trend, even considering that NCR was still at 9,455?
Yes, definitely, Pinky. In fact, NCR used to be at 60% of the national number, and it has been decreasing over the past week. And now, as you mentioned, it's down to around 30%, and it is continuing to decrease. 9,455 cases yesterday, but compared to just last week, it was at 18,000. So that's already a reduction of about half, 50%.
50%,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and we're projecting that, I mean, if the trends continue, we're projecting about 2,000 cases, more or less 2,000 to 3,000 by the end of this month. Hopefully that happens because that will depend on several factors. One of these is that we have to continue doing what we are doing over the past week or 2 weeks, and that's following minimum public health standards and restricting our personal restriction of movements.
Yeah, which we're still going to be under alert level 3 until the end of the month. So you're seeing at 9,455 cases in NCR yesterday. Your projection is by the end of January, that'll go down to about 2,000.
Yes, down to about 2,000, and hopefully by Valentine's Day, it will be down to about 1,000 cases per day in NCR. And by the end of February, these are my new projections, it could be down to about less than 500. So, I mean, again, these are just projections. We hope that these will come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm actually happy when I see your tweet and your projections are wrong. Only because you overestimated. Ano po? Kaya lang naman po ako masaya. Ibig sabihin, mas mababa po yung numbers dun sa inyong projection, which happens once in a while doon sa projection niya. So let's talk about the other areas, because it was also reported already yesterday that there's certain areas in the Philippines under alert level 4, such as Kalinga, Ifugao, Mountain Province, and even Northern Samar. Are these the exponential increase that OCTA is also seeing in terms of infections?
Well, I think the alert level 4 takes into consideration not just the exponential increase, but also the level of vaccination in these areas. And I think that's why these are placed under alert level 4. In many other places, including Central Visayas and even in Mindanao, they're also seeing exponential increase in cases. So it's happening actually now all over the country, in Northern Luzon, in Bicol region, in Central Visayas, in Eastern Visayas, in Western Visayas, right, and in many parts of Mindanao. But they're seeing an exponential increase. But because of the higher vaccine coverage in some of these urban areas, I think they placed the more rural areas under alert level 4 because of the lower vaccine coverage.
I see. But if you were to simplify it, Professor Guido, bakit ho bumababa na sa Metro Manila at bakit po tumataas sa ilang mga lugar? Is it really, would it be the vaccination rate really, or the number of infections that have actually happened in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, it's the latter, Pinky. So the infections, the Omicron wave started earlier in NCR. In fact, it started late December, during the last week of December. And because of this, and if we follow the South Africa model, it actually peaked after about 2 weeks from the start of the surge. So it's a rapid increase and then followed by a peak and then a decrease, fairly rapid decrease as well. And then these other parts of the country, they're just starting to have the surge because the Omicron might have presumably moved to these places over time.
And that would be obviously also because of mobility, yung paggalaw po ng tao from here to other areas as well.
That's correct, Pinky. But the vaccines will help prevent hospitalization. So that's the main function of the vaccines. It will help prevent hospitalizations and deaths. And we saw that in the NCR. Even though we had up to 18,000 cases, the ICUs did not get filled up. In fact, right now, it's still at less than 60% occupancy in the NCR.
Right, something that also needs to be considered, even if very recently there was a report on the first 2 deaths due to Omicron, and these were senior citizens who were unvaccinated. One was from Metro Manila, and I forget the location of the second individual. They were unvaccinated, also with comorbidities. So we continue to monitor the numbers and, of course, the capacity in hospitals. Professor Guido David, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky. Good morning.
And thank you for joining us here on the Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.